WiMax Forum?
Here, since we are on the WiMax Forum pavilion,
yeah,
and you've got different company on the WiMax Forum pavilion. So you've got Motorola here, and you've got a lot of other players. Yeah. So first about WiMax, we still have some question like, is WiMax going to be successful? I don't think this question is valuable anymore. What one has to understand is that WiMax today is supported by more than 600 members, and not only manufacturer, but also service provider, chipset manufacturer, a lot of service provider, and also I would say a lot of people that provide application. So such as Motorola, Samsung, Alcatel, the service provider, France Telecom, British Telecom, Microsoft is there, Intel is there. So more than 600 people are supporting this initiative, trying to have WiMax a success. And it did not start something like 6 months ago, but they start now for 4 years. So those people have been working actively for 4 years to have WiMax being a success.
Yeah.
So right now it starts happening, yeah, and we're going to start seeing the first product on the market, pitching the market and arriving on the market in the 6 coming months. So some people have chosen to arrive with a D solution that somehow creates momentum, and the big player decided to go directly to the E solution, which is the one we're going to have, and where we're going to be able to deliver all performance of WiMax, so with mobility and with a lot of type of services.
Mobility.
Yeah.
So it's going to be installed in some cities in the beginning?
So WiMax in itself, just to maybe to give a brief image of what is WiMax, this is just, to summarize, the wireless part of an IP network. So nobody could say today, yeah, with an IP network, this is what you're going to do. Or IP network, this is for this type of service provider. Yeah. Okay. Everybody needs to use an IP network for different reasons.
Yeah.
So everybody will need to use a WiMax network for different reasons, because you want to provide additional services. So you're going to have greenfield type of operators that don't have anything, and don't want to provide services. They're going to use WiMax just because this is easier to deploy than the wireline infrastructure.
Than a Wi-Fi, the normal, what do you say, wire, what?
This is easier than a wire infrastructure. Wi-Fi does not provide carrier type of services. Wi-Fi provides services within a hotspot, like here you can find different. Wi-Fi provides services within the 100 meters area. WiMax is going to provide services within 3 to 20 kilometers, depending on the application you want to provide. So it's complementary. One is called LAN, local area network. WiMax is called MAN, metropolitan area network. So it does not provide services over the same distance.
So for example, Paris. Are there people that's gonna launch WiMax within 6 or 8 months? How do we know if there is or not?
So what's happening right now, I mean, I cannot commit for anybody. What I can tell you is that a lot in France, okay, a lot of people have applied to get a license, because WiMax is operating in license band. So you need to buy a license.
From the government?
From the government. Yeah. So in France, there was 2 licenses that was to be bought, and there was something at the beginning like 175 players trying to get the license. Now it was too much, so they merged together, but we still have something like 45 players fighting strongly to get the license.
The last one?
Yeah, and not the small player, all the big players are there too. So there is a huge interest.
So one is already is it free, no?
Exactly, free already get a license.
For example, and each country is the same? They're selling the licenses?
Each country is the same, but the process is different in terms of selling. It's not like 3G, where it was the one that was offering the most money. Here it's more like it's the one that shows that it's going to make the better usage for WiMax, providing services for everybody.
Everybody.
So, somehow the idea is there. You can use WiMax to provide service for everybody. As soon as you do that, then you can use WiMax to do something else.
Are there any government that are doing it themselves? Maybe China, or I don't know, who they're not having companies compete for it, they just provide WiMax for everybody in the big towns?
So yeah, this is what's happening. The license, for example, in France, but in many other countries, they're not the people that are going to be favorized to get those licenses. Is the one that are what we call local community.
Right.
Okay, so the one that is from the government, that's right to have the license, but at the end what's going to happen, even if those guys got the license, they don't know how to deploy telecom equipment. So they will come to a bigger service provider that will do that for them.
Yeah.
But the benefit of doing that is that it just activates the market.
Yeah.
You've got more player that, you know, at the end, if one local collectivity gain a market somewhere in Germany, you know, or in Spain or in Sweden, and the guy say, okay, now I have a market, so I can give it either to British Telecom, to France Telecom, to Dutch Telecom, to Telia. So who's winning the market? So all these players are going to come say, I want the market. So it just more people, more activity, and so more quicker services to everybody.
And it's coming as fast as possible, or somebody is trying to slow it down, or?
Yeah, I would say 1 year ago there was some people that were trying to slow it down.
Yeah.
Right now, most of the players, you know, they are really interested in testing, and they just, the question was good. I think the question is not, is WiMax going to happen? I think now everybody's convinced WiMax is going to happen. The question is, when is it going to happen? Yeah. And I think this is when...
Sorry, this a guy, what's he doing? Sorry.
So you're welcome. So I think on the question of when is it gonna happen, the answer that strongly depends on what type of service provider you are, what type of equipment do you have today, okay, where you want to be in the future, what type of services you want to deliver in the future, and depending on that, you're gonna use WiMax. Not obviously at the same moment. You know, someone that is greenfield carrier might be willing to deploy WiMax today because he needs to provide services as soon as possible. A mobile service provider that is deploying 3G now, he might be willing to finish deploying 3G network, and as soon as he has a huge need of capacity somewhere, overlay a WiMax network. So two different type of service provider, two different answer to the when are they going to deploy WiMax.
But do you think that 3G is possible to have 3G with the data instead of minutes? You know, they are still making people pay for each minute, and it's like they don't want to let people use it as data, and maybe it's going to be different with WiMax, where you just have an unlimited plan or whatever it can be.
With those technology, you can never have unlimited, you know, because it's at the end, you know, it's always bandwidth limited, so you have to manage your bandwidth. Okay, but more you're gonna bring new technologies that can handle more and more capacity at a lower cost, or you're gonna be able to provide services for unlimited time. But you know, it's gonna take time. It's gonna arrive with WiMax integrated with a full IMS network and a full IP network.
All right. So I mean, the bandwidth is cheaper with the WiMax.
Sure.
And it's bigger.
Sure. You're going with WiMax. You're going with a new range of technology which is called OFDM. So with OFDM coming, you provide better performance at a lower cost.
And nobody's saying that WiMax is maybe dangerous, like they were saying that for 3G, and you know?
This is a very good question. WiMax, so not only that it is better technology, but the fact that it is really a much better technology allows WiMax to work at a much lower power. So you only need 1 watt for a WiMax base station to work, which is very low compared to 3G. So yeah, this was a good question. At the end, this 1 watt lowest capex, lowest opex, but also lowest problem of security and injury.
So right now there's already tests, of course, at some places.
You do have tests based on the D solution, which is there somehow to create the market. Motorola, we plan to arrive with the E solution Q2 this year, and we'll be the first on the market with the E solution.
Q2, that's like next month.
Depends which months of Q2, but it's soon, very soon.
But where? Do you know where they're coming with it, Motorola?
I know for sure, but it's going to be announced in the press.
Ah, they will announce. Ah, okay, so it's going to be in maybe in some city somewhere, and it's not like the whole of Europe or something.
No, we're not going to deploy WiMax in the whole of Europe. We need to work with different service provider, but we strongly think we have all the strength to be the leader in this market.
And how about do you know about the $100 laptop?
Yeah.
Where they have maybe they need the internet to the small villages far away, and maybe it's easier to have a WiMax to the village. Or, I mean, some other way to like any village where they don't have broadband.
So here you touch the whole presentation of finally Motorola, which is connectivity and connect. Okay, and WiMax is really one big part of the strategy of Connect and Connect, because you can, in those countries they don't have wireline infrastructure, so they absolutely need to use wireless, but they also need to use wireless at a price point where it makes sense to deploy that when people have an RPU that is lower than $10. So WiMax is supposed to achieve a price point at one point of time where RPU is very low, you can make some money. So yeah, WiMax should help solving it. I'm not saying that WiMax is going to provide the solution for everybody, but it will provide a lot of the solution. In those countries, the main barriers are very often, cost of the equipment and cost of the installation. WiMax, the cost of the equipment is going to be much lower than the other type of equipment, and the cost of installation is going to be very low too, because this is a pure non-line of sight type of technology.
A pure, what did you say?
Non-line of sight. So
non-line of sight.
So you don't need the base station to be aligned with the CPE.
All right.
You can have things in between, and there is different paths and the radio, so you can.
But how about the test? Are those with hardware of the size of a PDA or a phone, or not yet?
So the hardware of WiMax is very small, this chipset, okay? So the question is, when is it going to be worse to integrate that in a PDA or in a laptop or in a phone, And this all depends when people will have deployed the infrastructure. What I can tell you about that is that Intel saying everywhere, that in 2008 they will already have sold more than 14 million PC with a WiMax chipset integrated into it.
Like laptops?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, but right now it could be in a PDA.
Yeah, for sure. When you can integrate that in a laptop, you can integrate that in a PDA too.
Or in a phone.
In a phone, for sure. The question is, when is it going to happen? And the answer to that is as soon as the market will ask for it, because it's no more a technological problem. It's market demands. The market demands things.
But why don't they put a WiMax in the $100 laptop then? The one that they're building to send to the third world, where they don't have internet sometimes? Because
right now, this is what I've said. First, today you cannot integrate it in the $100 laptop, because the WiMax chipset that will integrate it in the laptop is an E version, so it's just coming. It's going to come soon, and also because you don't have the infrastructure, so there is no need to put that in the laptop. So you need first to build the infrastructure, and then you need to build that in the laptop.
All right. Okay. And it's kind of the same price as Wi-Fi? The chip can be cheap?
For sure, it's going to be the same type of price of Wi-Fi. This is the only way how Intel can incorporate that in this PC.
And the same power usage?
This is what happened with the new technology. Now with this Moore law that divides the price of the silicon every year with always double capacity. This is what allows us today to integrate OFDM technology in a small chipset with low power.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.